Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of Three Live Cans. As always, I am Chris. Now over here, usually down there, that's Steve-O, here to talk to you guys about another week of Miami Hurricanes football. If you came here for Bill, I question your judgment, but also he will not be here. He's, I think, a work thing or something. I forget what he said. Like sends us messages like weeks in advance about why he can't do things, but none of us pay attention to it. But he's not going to be here, so it's like old school Canes Insight Live, like from 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, a
Oh
million
yeah,
years ago.
a
But
long time ago.
yeah, back to like a near original version of the show. But it's here to talk to you guys about a week of Miami Hurricanes football. Another fortuitous week for the Canes, knocking off a rival, running the state. Any opportunity to win a state championship is a good week for the University of Miami. They just won it a little bit earlier than the high school teams will win it, a few weeks from now. But great for us to knock off Florida State. Before we get to talking about that, we're Louisville. Steve, how are we feeling tonight?
We vibing, big vibing. Big 5-0 vibes. You wish the bye weeks weren't like this setup wise. You would have hoped maybe to have one a little bit further down the stretch. However, this roster is deep and it is healthy. From what Coach Cristobal has recently said, some of the guys we've been waiting for, aka JoJo, Lyle, those type of guys are ready to go. So maybe this did come at the right time. But I'm vibing. I can't wait to pack the rock on Friday. So I'm just chilling.
It's funny, Steve. Like the bye week thing, and like I was so pissed about it when I first saw it at the start of the year, and then when it actually came to be, and like you had Florida, then you had a week to breathe before you had Florida State, then we had Florida State, then we had another week to breathe, like to kind of reset. I was like, actually, I kind of like this. You smack down one rival, you get a little bit of time, you smack down another rival, and you get a little bit of time to really enjoy it, let it sink in, let it simmer, let it marinate a little bit before Louisville, especially a Friday night game. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it as much as I thought I would. But obviously, a lot of work yet to do. Miami still number 2 in the country, still working hard to make sure that rating holds up. Especially when we're in the real serious playoff talk time, especially as some of these other teams fall by the wayside. We'll talk about a Florida State game, talk about Louisville, talk about Friday night at the Rock, talk about packing the Rock, getting all these fans out in the prime time spot, like the only show in town. Only one you'll be watching on television, so make sure everyone shows out for that. We thank you guys for joining us here to talk some football on a Wednesday night with our Canes.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big games.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Devin Hester up to the races. That's what they needed.
That's Ricks going up for Thorpe, and it's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one.
Who else?
Who else but Sean? Who else but us here on a Wednesday night? Talk about the University of Miami. A little football discussion on a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. The perfect time for it. Some guys in the chat already. CF Kane fan. Who said B Writer is in the chat tonight. I would assume not. I think that's about it. Like he did come back after the first loss. I'll give him that. But I mean, you can't just expect this guy to come back after whooping and keep rolling back into this thing. So he's probably all done. Hopefully Johnny Buckets is okay out there somewhere. B Harb, how you doing? Mo Canes. We weren't even that late. 9:05, I feel like is right on time. Like I'll do 9:05. 9:05 is pretty good. We've been way worse. Hard Rock Asylum, get that thing going. Deepwater 1301, Mo Canes. Now he's in a better mood here. Thank you, Mo. Much appreciated. And we got a question from CF Kane fan that I do want to get to. Maybe not right this second, but something we're going to talk about in a little bit, CF Kane fans. Don't worry. We will discuss it. But first things first. We weren't here last week because I was ill. But and then I hold the whole thing together, glue guy and all. But so now we're back. Plus we had a bye week too, so get our mind right. But obviously Miami knocking off Florida State is something you want to celebrate and you want to talk about. I know a lot of other people talked about it already, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it on this show. Talk about it with our fans there in the chat. But Steve-O, now 10 days out from the whooping. There's your thoughts on beating Florida State and Like what you saw in that game that stood out to you, things you're really happy about, especially now heading into week or half 2 of the college season.
I dropped the review letting Canes fans know our receivers are gonna abuse FSU DBs in one-on-one coverage, and that's what happened. So wasn't surprised, but I was happy to see it. Finally, a game that was not in the rain, and Carson Beck was able to just let it go, and it looked great. I mean, there was more meat on the bone, but you can't discount like just that mental image in my head that still shows 28-3 in the fourth quarter. I am 10 days later, I'm still kind of like, okay, like we need to play a complete game. But I've turned the page. I'm looking towards Louisville. That's what time does. But at the time, I was very disappointed with kind of the whatever type of approach. Let's be completely honest. It was probably very just conservative is the word everybody uses, but I don't even know about conservative. Like it might have been a little bit more than that. But hey, we still got the dub away. We'll have them again at home next year.
Oh, Steve, I don't know if I lost you. You there, Steve? Oh, you good?
Yeah,
I think I lost you for a second there.
Oh, I'm here, but yeah, I was disappointed in that fourth quarter. Can't not mention it, but proud of the team, the talent. You know, you talk about Bain, you talk about Mesidor, CJ, Malley, Carson Beck. You know, you start thinking about some of our best players, Thomas, and they all played some of their best games.
I want to ask about something you mentioned there, Steve. You said maybe not so much playing like, conservative, but maybe something else. Like what do you think? Like how do you want to word that? Like what do you think we were doing in the fourth quarter?
I mean, you're playing just they could have moved the football we were pressuring them all night. Castellanos, we knew what he was going to be. He was going to be a guy who was hard to get down to the ground, and he was going to be a guy who made some plays, especially if you went blitz and he had man coverage and he slipped the first initial, pass rush lanes. We knew that was coming in, and that held true. And it definitely wore down on our defense. I'm not going to say just the fourth quarter was strictly, conservative approach. It worked with it because, it went with it because we started playing really soft zone coverage, allowing a lot of stuff 10, 15 yards downfield, just ready just to not concede anything past that, and relying on our front four. And at that point in the game, they were gassed. They were chasing this little midget around all game. They were dominant most of the game. However, it does wear and tear on you. And, not to say that we weren't rotating as deep in our defensive line, because there was definitely some rotation, but you playing Florida State, you're going to get a little bit more burn as a Ruben Bain, as a Mesidor than most, because you just want your best guy out there. So, yeah, it contributes to a lot of that, but definitely just way too soft when they scored 3 points the entire game. With the defense we were playing, I don't know why we switched that up, just to keep some of the defensive linemen fresh. And once they turned into that umbrella defense, it didn't look good. Obviously, they scored 26 points or 23 points.
Yeah, and it's watching it live, and I know I feel like there was an immediate takeaway of negativity, that shouldn't have been there considering what Miami was able to do. Like, look at the score however you want. Like, Miami dominated Florida State. Like, I don't know, they wouldn't belong on the same field as the University of Miami on that day, right? We know that. We saw it. It's all good. Obviously, if you look at the score only, or you were only locked into being frustrated about that one, it could leave a sour taste. And I think a lot of the social media stuff after the fact was like looking for that negativity there and not the positive stuff from the first 3 quarters. And I get it. It's the last thing you saw, and you don't want to walk away from that. Like, you want to finish that game as a whooping up by however many points you were up by. You don't want it to be 6 or whatever, But obviously, like, there was still a lot of real, like, significant positive takeaways from the game that were out that's in there. And you mentioned it too. Talk about the receiver group that, as the weeks go on, Steve, I will keep posing the question to you that I posed to you a few weeks ago, but if you take it this year's receiver group or last year's receiver group. Now, I know you don't have to go through it and explain your answer again, but At least give me this. Like as the weeks go on, this receiver group is looking like one of the best receiver groups that we've had in
a year. let's be honest now.
Let's
In
go
a year.
specifically. Let's go specifically then. Like, how about Malachi? Like, what he's been able to do in his first year, and not like Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, has a big year as a true freshman, but he's a guy who's built like a mythological creature, right? He's built like a guy that could be a 27-year-old, two-time All-Pro receiver in the NFL. Malachi Tony is not someone that you look at physically and say, "Oh, this guy's ready to go right now." Consider like height, weight, all that kind of stuff. But what has he been able to do? How has he been able to play at the level he has so far? Just getting on campus and immediately, basically being the guy from Miami.
If you guys haven't seen my receiver room review on this channel, Kane's Insight, go watch it. Mally is just a tactician. He's mentally able to absorb all this information. Processing information is the most key part as a freshman to get on the field, and he processes information really well, especially as a route runner. He's really advanced. So when you start thinking about, everybody, I guess you will compare rooms and stuff like that, but it's a mix this time. We have some good veterans, as in CJ in his 5th-year senior. He's making plays left and right. Obviously, we talked about Mally, the true freshman, but you have Marion, who pretty much outside of Florida State, he didn't have his best game versus Florida State. He's been pretty solid. You have a guy like JoJo, who the fans are clamoring for. You have another young guy like Joshua Moore, who's made plays, showed you he can be out on the field. You have Tony Johnson, who's made a play every single time we've thrown the ball to him. Could have made one versus Florida State. That was probably one of the only inaccurate deep ball Beck threw. There was some space there. So pretty deep. I mean, I'm not really expecting Mally to slow down anytime soon, because just like with Restrepo last year in the slot, you could bracket all day. But Coach Shannon Dawson shown he has a way to scheme them open. So I'm really not worried about Mally. Oh my God, we got him on tape now. Well, automatically, Coach Dawson's going to be able to get him the football.
Yeah, and we have the fact that we were, like you said, able to do it in years past. Like, I don't think Shannon Dawson has any worry about finding ways of getting him open and getting him involved. And like you said, the fact that we have other receivers that can go out there and do like things like that. CJ's been able to be at, I don't know what the expectation was necessarily for everybody. I know a lot of people that went back to his Liberty stuff. And Steve, I remember you saying this specifically before the year, like you go to his Liberty stuff and you were like, wow, this kid could be really, really good. And you know what, LSU last year, he kind of got lost in the wash a bit. But I think a lot of guys with the way LSU was built last year kind of got lost in the wash a little bit. With the offense that probably should have been better than it was. Same story this year for some of those receivers they have at LSU.
It's literally the same story. It's actually worse this year.
Yeah, because you have guys. I mean, there's 4 dudes there that people talked about that transferred in or were there for a long time. That could be first round, second round picks that just not making plays because of the system and the quarterback. But I think he's been like above the expectations for the majority of people. And then we saw Lofton getting involved in this game too. We saw him getting opportunities that, to show his stuff. He got 2 passes in a row at one point. Miami was moving the football well. So this passing game been, I think, playing as good at high of a level as we've seen. And like I know last year we had Cam Ward doing it, but I really feel like this group all together holistically, we don't need the quarterback to play out of his mind. We need Carson back to do exactly what he's done, and that's play good, solid football, make some really like nice throws behind an offensive line that has been absolutely outstanding. So, like, just your thoughts now swifting over to Beck, because you hear it like the talk of now is the big draft talk, and there's this guy and all these guys across the country. There's a dude playing in Indiana at a high level who is from right around the corner, right in the neighborhood, right? Like, but Carson Beck, I think, for my money, looking around the country, he's been one of the best 3 quarterbacks playing college football this year. You could throw Mendoza in there. You could probably throw the kid from Alabama in there who's been playing great. But Carson Beck has been everything we've wanted him to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. This is probably the most complete Miami team we have seen in a very long time. if they want to come in here and stack the box so we don't run the ball down their throat, we will do what we did to Florida State. We will unleash our receivers downfield. If you want to take away the run and then sometimes give one-on-one matchups, we will do you like we did Notre Dame. We will run the ball and then take our one-on-one matchups. If you want to just stop us from passing it like Florida and just continue to not try to concede the deep ball, we will run the ball the entire game and eventually pull away because we bullied you for 4 quarters. Mm-hmm. The team is complete. So Carson Beck walked into a situation where we didn't have that necessarily last year with Cam. We had a really good offensive line, not as good as this offensive line has been this year. Pancake, Markel, CC, Inez, Brockmeyer, they are playing lights out offensive line play. This is the best offensive line we've had here under Coach Mario and Coach Mirabal. So all that being said, Beck has been super efficient. I think he understands. A lot of people don't like the word system quarterbacks, but I like the way he plays within the system. He lets the plays come to him. He's not big time chasing them like Cam Ward did last year, which was made him special in the number 1 overall pick. However, with the balance being what it is, Cam Ward had to force to make those big plays. We weren't maybe having those sustained drives. He had to make those big plays. So with this type of balance, it's more important that we don't get off schedule. We allow ourselves to be in position to, if we want to run the ball on 3rd down, we can. And we have been. There's been so much 3rd and 1s this year, 3rd and 2s this year, and we just hand that thing off to Marty Brown or Fletcher, and they're just dragging forward for 4 or 5 yards. They even busting one, like the one versus USF for a big one. It's just very, very efficient, playing within the system. And when the shots are there, the shots were there versus Florida State, and he delivered. And there was more that we wanted from the deep passing game, but I continue to reiterate to fans about how wet the balls have been and how crazy it's really been that we played 4 straight rain games, Florida being the worst one of them all, but definitely consistent rain in every single game. So it was just nice to see when everything aligned that he just took the shots when they gave it to him, because he's shown he could take the underneath when they give it to us, and now when he's showing when, hey, they give us the deep ball or the one-on-one matchups, he could do it too. So playing within the system, I think, is going to get him drafted very, very high just because of how well this roster is built around him.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because you think about all the comments from the fans around the country that when he transferred to Miami, it was all – I mean, obviously the negativity was overwhelming. You know, it's funny. Even with Castellanos, with what he did to earn his way out of Boston College, like, I feel like people were more negative about Beck and forgot entirely about the player that he was in a year and a half ago, right? Like literally a year and a half ago. Where they said it was going to force plays, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. If you look at what Georgia was rolling out there on offense, like this could be like, oh, it's Georgia. They have this, they have that, and then you were looking at the way
they had that.
Right, like he was forcing plays, like you just said. Cam at times had to force plays, and obviously put him in a position that I don't think he felt very comfortable because he left. He's like, I don't want to play a game like this again for another year. He found a system that, like Nick agreeing with me, 100%. Like he found a system where he could do the things that he's supposed to do as a quarterback, and it's worked out tremendously for him, for the university. Like of all the transfers around the country, of all the guys that left situations, found different ones. I don't think there's a better situation or better guy leaving for a different situation that's worked out wholesale better than Carson Beck going to Miami. That includes Mendoza. That includes the 2-year journey for Dante Moore. Like I feel like
I don't know. It's I don't know. That's a discussion versus Mendoza, because he was literally not even on anybody's draft boards to potentially like a top pick. But
I mean, like Mendoza could have went a few places and probably ended up in the same spot. Like Mendoza, I feel like I don't know if people wanted him, but
I wanted him.
But like he could have went a couple spots, but Beck has found like a level of comfort at Miami with this line and these weapons. And I think people are like, oh, this dude is the guy we thought he was. So, yeah, argue about Mendoza in there too, but hard to be upset about what we've seen from him. And when you're sitting there talking about Miami could have 3 top 10 picks in the NFL draft, like if you include Beck in there with Marinoa and with Ruben Bain, I mean, talk about stacking the deck. The fact that when was the last time that we got 2 elite 5-star players in the same class, and both of them worked out to this degree as a Maui Noah and a Bane. Like,
It has, and not in my lifetime.
yeah, like I mean, we got shoot, like
The only 5 stars we've had in my lifetime are the Chad Johnsons, not Chad Johnsons, Chad Thomas, LT,
I mean, we got LT and James Williams in the same class.
James Williams, who else? Chicolo.
I mean, back in the day with Ryan Moore, Kyle Wright, those guys.
Ryan Moore, that's crazy. Never forget some of them head tops he had in Hard Rock.
So, like, it hasn't happened. Like, not in the era of 5 stars, not in the era of rivals and all that. Like, to actually have these guys reach their maximum potential is something we've hoped for, but haven't been able to quite pull together. DJ, I'm sure there was another 5-star in DJ Williams' class that we got back in the day, but like that's what we're talking about. Now these guys are sitting there like selling to everybody. Look at what Miami's able to do. People wonder why we're pulling in top offensive tackle prospect in the country. Look at what we did. We did exactly what we're supposed to do. And in a week, I'm not trash talking because we don't play them. We'll see them in the playoff, anything. But in a week when Oregon loses to Indiana, as they did, where they did, and a lot of the issues being that they just couldn't run their offense the way they wanted to because Indiana's defensive line was smacking them around. Hard to forget about how that offensive line and defensive line, the trench work of the coaching staff of Miami has been doing some work to build these guys up to look like a national championship level team.
100%. But look at where the NIL resources are going. They're going at those guys. I mean, we had Pancake and Francis. Obviously, Pancake had the torn ACL, so his development was stalled by that. But that's 2 5-star tackles in one class that look like hits and slam dunks. I mean, if you ask PFF, which I'm not the biggest PFF fan, to be real with you, he's the best lineman on the team. But on tape, it's he's passing the eye test, he's passing the deep dive test, he's passing every test you throw at him.
Yeah, 100%. Looking over some of these comments about 2000 class could be in there. Mendoza, a lot of people talking about Mendoza. I want to play with his brother, all that. 2000 class, DJ and Vernon Carey. I think that's probably the same class because they ended up coming out both in 04 as seniors. So, yeah, that might be it. Or if Sean and K2 were in the same class, that would be a year later.
Yeah.
So, that once in 24 years, I'll take it. That's pretty
Jack's
big
talking about Kenton Dobson flipping to UNC. That's been, man, we've been on that. That's been weeks and weeks in the making. They, quote unquote, money's on the flow over there at UNC. So as much as the speculation about the Bill Belichick's and that, they are paying hella money for players, and it's good for him. If that's what he wants to go pursue, he's more than welcome to, and wish him the best. He's definitely a talented player. But when you reclassify and then, your NIL isn't as big as it was if you didn't reclassify, in my opinion, from my experience with knowing some of that type of stuff. So if the school's going to give you, more value, then that's, great for you, to be honest with you. But we're definitely moving on at corner, and I think we'll just be fine. We'll be just fine. Definitely talented, and you never want to lose local talent. But I think there's some very, very good DBs on the board here, and we're pretty stacked for a while at DB anyway.
Yeah, I think that's not worried about our ability to pull in guys there. Like you said, if anyone wants to go to North Carolina and think that's going to work out, I mean, hey, you make the decision you got to make. But we'll see that portal gets hot and fresh every season. So we'll see how long that stuff works out as time goes on.
They dropped the uniform combo, orange over white. I was waiting to see what was going on. I was like, potentially, I knew we weren't going to do black, but it was Friday, so I was holding out because I know we got the military uniforms next week for Stanford. I've heard they're actually not that bad in person, And from the person I heard that from, I gave him a very, very like, come on, bro, look like. And he told me, he was like, look, like the way they were described to me, I was off. But when I seen them in person, he was like, I was kind of like back in. And so I was just like, okay, I respect that.
He tell you what the helmet's going to be? Is this going to be straight up for you?
I think it's actually now we only talked about the uniform, but I guess that includes the helmet, but I don't remember any particular comment about it. But I'm excited. We'll probably see more of the uniform in like a video next week. If we handle Louisville the way we handle them, everybody's going to be excited when they drop that little 50-second video and everything going crazy. And then
the dark lights flashing.
Yeah.
Like bombs going off in the background, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, but it'll be good. From what I heard, they might surprise people. They look better in person. They look better like on a uniform. Obviously, everybody's only seen the jersey from what it looks like as being sold to a Canes fan. So we'll see how that works with the combination. But I think Adidas is pulling out some cleats and gloves that probably are the only reason or a main reason why I'll be satisfied.
It's probably what makes sense. Got to sell as much as you can. But before we switch over and talk more specifically about Louisville coming up this week, CF Kane fan did pose a question at the start of the show. On a hit on it, midseason awards is Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year. Let's just get the easiest one out of the way and go Rookie of the Year first. I mean, there have been some guys, like obviously, but I mean,
yeah,
your vote, Steve-O?
It's obviously Mally. Probably after that, you would say Bryce. But if you wanted to just say Bryce, I wouldn't blame you. I would look at you funny, but I wouldn't blame you. 3 tutties, 3 interceptions. You know, and in the limited amount of snaps that Bryce plays is very impressive because of obviously we have 2 really good safeties on top of him with Thomas and Poyer. But yeah, it would have to be Mally hands down on Rookie of the Year, and that's no shade to anybody.
That makes sense. Yeah, all due respect to Bryce and what he's been able to do, it's like it's a very tough class to be up for the award consideration against Malachi Tony. It's a very, very difficult road to take to win that award. So we'll put that one on the side. Let's go Comeback Player of the Year before we go to the O and the D ones. And I don't know how we want to define Comeback Player of the Year, but we could do guys that were hurt. We could do guys maybe that weren't playing up to a certain level, or like maybe we saw something.
I think this one's easy too.
What do you got, Steve-O?
Chase Smith for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think that one's almost as easy as Mally, unless you want to count Toure because he did come off injury and all that stuff, but that wasn't at Miami. I done seen Chase Smith go through it year after year, us praying this was the year he was going to be healthy, and finally 4 years down the road we're seeing it, and I'm happy with him.
Okay, that's a good one. I don't think I would have had of all the guys that have had injuries throughout their career, I don't think anyone's even close to Chase. Like every year it seems to be something different he was trying to battle through and get back to health. So it's hard to look past that. I was thinking CJ, but see it in the context of like what last year was and his ability to come back and again show the skill set he's had. Thinking about him.
Yeah, I mean Beck. Like there was some injuries, Bain last year didn't play as much. People thought it was a sophomore slump, but it was more of him, not playing much and then chasing it back. Yeah, so there's definitely some improvement to be had, or people who had some chips on their shoulders coming in, but I just couldn't. I would have to go Chase, man. I'm just super happy with seeing how he looks in a uniform right now.
All right, I'll do it. As a guy that I remember us being on this show talking about when he committed, oh, he's going to be this and that, Swiss Army knife, and playing all these positions and blah, blah, blah. And, it's cool to see 100 years later. It was probably us doing this show called Canes Insight Live, like a year into its existence or whatever, here talking about it back in the day, when we committed. So now here we are, old, and Chase Smith still rolling around there making plays.
Yeah, they got someone made a good one with Mesidor, which is true. That's another one. So it's just a lot of guys bouncing back this year. But On defense, there's going to be a lot of guys bouncing back when you come from a defense that was giving up like 40 points a game, and then you actually start playing real defense. Yeah, I know. I was hoping we were going to pull something out, but I'm cool with the orange over white, bro. We're undefeated with it at home. F it. I'm cool with it.
Jay Smith, Carson Beck, got the Mari, Mesidor back at defensive end. Yep. And honestly, like as good as Bane's been, Mesidor, like considering where he was, I feel like this is the player that we saw at West Virginia, like who even though in his younger days, like that explosiveness, he got here and he kind of was tweener for a while, like a little bit inside, a little bit outside. I think we all kind of saw that this is what he's going to be. But then once he's been solid on the edge opposite Bane, it's been just take off. So I don't think there's a player with this. I don't think there's a player that's earned himself more money in the National Football League over the course of this season, in terms of boosting up his stock than Mesidor. Because I think Mesidor went from like a guy who'd get drafted to a guy that, round 2 pick, like a guy that can get to the quarterback with size off the edge.
I don't know. If Carson Beck go number 1 overall, then that's going to be tough.
Fair. Ruben Bain 20 to number 3 or whatever. I mean, Bain's like, what was he, like 5th or 6th in like the first overall pick betting odds?
I mean, now after the Florida game, his odds definitely got a lot better.
He's tied for third. Ruben Bain.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's just hoping the Titans get that number 1 overall pick. Back-to-back Canes.
Yeah, that'd be tough. Cam need an offensive lineman number 1 overall.
All right. So we left offensive and defensive players of the year. Defense will go first because I think there's maybe a little bit more intrigue with we go on offense, but defense, hard to argue with the dude from around the corner who's been the best edge rusher we've had in quite a while. But what do you got, Steve? What do you think? Defensive player of the year?
Because I'll leave you with Bane, who is definitely the pick. I'll just move from defensive line entirely, and I'll go to linebacker, and I'll say Toure probably be our. Even though if I wanted to really answer this question with like full bent on accuracy, I would go from Bane to Mesidor, just being honest. But I'll back out the D line and I'll give that to you. I'll probably say Toure. Thomas could have been there, but he started off a little slow. So that Florida State game was lit. He put himself, up there with some of the Florida State games, all timers, but definitely needs to do it a couple more games for me to give him that a defensive player of the year award, because really it's only been like a game or 2 out of 5 that he's dominated. He hasn't been suspect for sure, but he's definitely trending in that direction where he could at the end of the year be a candidate for defensive player of the year. But just as of right now, I would probably give it to Bane and Mesidor. But if I wanted to just for the sake of this argument, or not argument, but this thing, I'll probably say Toure. I think he's probably been the biggest addition, and no one really even talks about it. But I mean, Toure's been more solid than I can even imagine telling you. I really can't tell you enough in one show how solid he's been. He's the definition of inside out football. Mm-hmm. Keontae, that's a good one too. Keontae Scott.
It's funny, like thinking about all the additions Miami's pulled in. Toure being even a late one, but all in a year where Miami really needed it, I think, to reload and figure out on defense what we were and to get the identity right, to hit on so many big time transfers and to hit on so many guys. And I say big time to hit on. I'm going to change the wording of that. To hit on so many transfers that have played at a big time level. We don't even call them big time transfers. Call them bring in guys that maybe they weren't like
that was actually on Thomas.
Like what's that?
No, he said Toure had a coverage bust versus Notre Dame, but no, that's definitely on the safety over the top.
That to have these guys come in and play at the level they've had, and like to be able to identify that, like that whoever the director of college personnel is doing his work, because like almost every one of these guys has played a role, and played a role at a really high level, and being able to go in there even when guys are getting dinged up, going in there and still balling, like that's
FCS safety Poyser. Middle Tennessee to Tennessee transfer. It wasn't really working for him at Tennessee. Came here. He's playing the best football. Boom. That's Thomas. Then you think about Toure. Boom. Mesidor. He's been on the roster for a couple years, so I'm not going to count him. But you think about Lucas and Ethan O'Connor both playing lights out for us at corner. Very, very fire hits on. That's just on defense. I haven't even talked about Brockmeyer, and obviously Beck and CJ. It just seems like this is the year where we're actually not even this is the year. It's just been solid transfer portal additions from, coach, this staff with Cohen, Matt Lee. We've, Markel Bell out of JUCO transferred in. They've been very, very selective with the transfers that they brought in, and they popped, and they supplement them with high school recruiting. That's what's making us so dangerous. The Fletchers, the Lyles, the Loftons, we bring those guys in. The Malleys, we bring those guys in with high school recruiting, and the Baines, the Motons, the Scotts, we bring those guys in and then sprinkle in some of these transfers that hit at key positions, the OJs, and that's what makes us so dangerous.
It's funny, like something as simple as like you mentioned it for Jacoby Thomas, but also if you mentioned it about CJ, the fact that two of those guys were at a different place, had already upgraded to like a big time power school, right? Power 4 school. Wasn't working out the way that it was supposed to, where they anticipated it working out, left the second time. And then we went and figured out, like we went back to that first place when they were at the small school and making it work. And we saw what we needed to see there. It's like, a guy gets drafted, it doesn't work out one spot, and then he gets to his next team, and all of a sudden everything clicks because they still saw that thing from years before. So they weren't just looking at, oh, this guy didn't hit the level he should have, flamed out, whatever you want to call it, at a big-time program. They're like, no, we can make this work. And it's worked for CJ and Thomas and a lot of these guys. Like, we made this thing happen even if other people couldn't. And I think that's a real testament to the coaching staff and their ability to have the vision and know where these guys all fit in. Because I don't think any of us were like, oh, yeah, Jacoby Thomas is locking in one of those starting spots. He's going to be the man, unless you heard stuff like coming from the program. It's just based upon thoughts about how this thing was going to develop. We're like, well, it's probably going to be this guy, that guy. Then all of a sudden, after the first couple games, he's there. I don't think any of us expected Mesidor to be what he's been this year, and he's there. So, and then supplementing with, like you said, the recruiting side of it, that you spend that money on that defensive line. You got the transfer, you got the big time 5-star guy who's in his third year, you got the young guys rolling in there. But some of the
mad 5 stars. We got 5 stars. We got Hayden Lowe in shorts right now. That would have been another 5-star out there who was wrecking things in camp in spring. So yeah, 5. Marquise Lightfoot 5-star, Blunt 5-star, Scott 5-star. I mean, there is 3 5-stars, coming into their second years this season, and they're popping.
It's awesome to see, and it's one of those things where, like, I don't see this thing ending anytime soon because of how to push this thing going. One question is just from I'm sure this is the real Gary Furman, and there's no reason to doubt that. You have to hit one drive for your life, so they got to drive down the field, score a touchdown. Your life is on the line, Steve-O. You going Brad Kaya or Brock Berlin?
I think you know who I'm going, and it's no disrespect to Brock, but I'm definitely going Brad. It doesn't matter what offensive line, what receiver core. I'm telling you right now, I'm going Brad.
Now, I'm going to go Brock because I saw him do the thing and make that drive against, 1,000 of them against Florida, where I was like, as a little kid, not even a little kid, I guess I was fairly old at that point, but like as a kid and watching that happen and being like, oh my gosh, so I'm gonna stick with that dream. But what if I were to go Brock Berlin, Brad Kaya, or Stephen Morris?
I'm going Brad. I'm sorry. If you guys pull up that Brad versus FSU tape and you just look at every time he's played a big game, Brad was on that. He's a super underrated
Morris.
Yeah, and I love Stephen Morris. That's probably on first down. we in trouble a little bit. So I don't I'm definitely going Brad for yeah, bro. I'm sorry.
You know, Stephen Morris is watching this show right now, and he's like, he watches this show every week because he's like, these are my guys. I'll catch a toss in every once in a while, and they'll always show respect to Stephen Morris, and he's sitting there devastated right now, Steve-O. Bill, I can't even tell Bill what just happened because Bill would be broken to know that we abandoned one of our guys. That's a guy that, like, the three of us. Our guy.
That's still my guy. It's my favorite quarterback of all time. But if I had to bet my life on it, I'm going with Brad. I'm sorry.
Right. A lot of people going Brock. I mean, Gary Furman himself going Brock. I mean, that's pretty good. I can't post of other.
You give Brad, you insert Brad with this offensive line. Oh my God.
Nick West, if Brock played in today's era with spread offenses, and they didn't make him go under center every play for no reason at all, even though he showed like what he was. Or how about this? One throw. I like that from Nick West. One throw.
That's too singular, bro.
You gotta put that thing 60 yards in the air. Who you putting in?
Oh, there's only one quarterback on that list who's throwing it 60, 70 in the air. But I mean, if it was one throw, it depends on what the throw is. Because if you're looking for accuracy, guess who's the most accurate of all those quarterbacks? It's Brad. We're looking for the deepest, though. You know, it's Steven. If you're looking for a guy who just transferred in from Florida and was balling, then you know that's it. But yeah, I'm sorry. That one throw is too narrow.
This feels disrespectful to Steven. I know.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful to Rozier either, bro. Like there was times where 2017, yeah, it was ups and downs offensively, what we were winning. But people really discount how much plays he made with his legs. That's the one thing. Like I'm with you. He missed some throws. He'll tell you he missed some throws. He's a good dude. If you ever talk to him, everybody knows he's involved with Canes fam, trains quarterbacks, all that. He's a good dude. He knew he didn't play perfect, but I just feel like people discount how much plays he made with his legs. It wasn't just some plays that just kept us getting first downs. Because yeah, he was missing throws like the FSU game. We did not move the ball at all outside of his legs until finally he started hitting some Barrios downfield a couple of times, and then obviously Langham at the end that will forever be in history. Right. But he made so much plays with his legs that a lot of fans forget about. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But I am taking Stephen Morris. But I just wanted to throw that out there that Rozier isn't what people make him out to be.
Yeah, that's fair. But I was going Morris, but still. No, obviously you got to go Morris. Nonetheless, he's got to get a win on this show somewhere. But speaking of getting a win, you know, we're headed into this week against Louisville, just 2 days away. Friday night, Pack the Rock, all that kind of stuff. You can throw all your like fancy hashtags and stuff out there. Looking at a Louisville team, Steve-O, that has a quarterback who's been a part of that transfer roulette, ended up a few places, and now he's at Louisville. We've got a running back that's really explosive, who's a lot of Canes fans are familiar with. Got a couple receivers that are pretty good, you know, that have been talked about as guys that could be like pros down the line. So it seems like an offense that's got some playmakers, Steve-O.
Seems like every year you play Louisville, it's the same thing. Oh, they got speed at running back. Oh, they got good receivers. Like, yeah, it's a Louisville thing. I mean, they're one of the ACC teams that are consistently, you know, turning out a good offense, especially with Coach Braun there. He's known as an offensive guru, can make quarterbacks work. And, you know, he got Tyler Shaw drafted like second round. Might have been the reach from the Saints, but he could get quarterback play at a high level. So definitely worrisome. He's the guy who, you know, got Guidry fired basically by exposing that defense and then continuously putting out the blueprint that could beat him. So definitely head up, you know, looking at Louisville, never doubting any opponent, but this is one you definitely can't sleep on because you have some bad eye discipline on a play, they can go 70, 80 yards on you, you know, so that's that. Then now you're pressing and the pressure's on you, and you already had the pressure of playing as the number 2 team. Everybody's going to give you your best. You're not going to have somebody's off day. You know, you're getting their best. You're the guy people are circling on their calendar. You know, 10-17 squad. My bad, I had to throw that out there. That might go over a lot of people's heads, but 10-17, you know, they're putting that on their calendar because it's a chance for them to knock out the number 2 team in the nation. So we're going to be getting their best, and they're definitely explosive on offense.
Now it seems like going through like the games they've had so far that, you know, Isaac has been obviously an incredible player. I think he's averaging over 7 yards a carry again. You know, he had crazy numbers last year. Hasn't had the huge carry total, maybe just because like the nature of they have a couple of backs they could go to, but he was also held pretty much in check by Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. So it's not like every one of his games. Like last year, it seemed like every game he was putting up crazy numbers, but he's had a couple off games and haven't been able to get him going as much as maybe they want. But how do you stop a running back of his, obviously his incredible speed and skill set that way, but how do you stop a guy like that?
Hope Miller Moss keeps missing him. I guess he's missed him a couple times on some deep balls that would have been touchdowns because they like to use him. You know, he's a weapon in and out of the backfield. So he's definitely a guy that when you're in man coverage, you're worried about putting a linebacker on him. He's too fast. He's too gifted as a receiver out of the backfield. But you stop him by, you know, gap integrity, you know, so he doesn't slip through one and bust because his speed erases angles. So the best way to protect your back 7, you know, back 4 mostly from getting just burnt is making sure he doesn't get those angles. So nice little job to contain him. He's going to make his plays, to be honest with you. It's just going to happen. If they feed him the ball enough, it'll just be a game of probability. However, it's just that offensive line is tough. But with that scheme, with that zone blocking scheme, it's not about them, you know, bullying our defensive line. We know our defensive line is going to bully, but it's just making the crease because he doesn't need much. So they're not going to dominate our defensive line. I think we know that. However, when you have backs like Louisville, they're not trying to dominate your defensive line. They're trying to just create slithers, cracks, for their running backs to slip through and gash you. That's what they're trying to do. So it's going to be interesting to see how our defensive line plays against it, to be honest with you. We've had defensive lines that have struggled with Louisville in the past. I don't believe this is going to be that type of defensive line. I think we're too deep. We're too, you know, built well inside out. Other times we've been either lacking on the edge or lacking inside. So I think us being a more complete defensive line will be able to combat some of that speed to the edges that they like to do.
Yeah, and Adrian Furman kind of jokingly to the point, but is the scariest part of the schedule because like Louisville does have the ability to put up points. Louisville has had success against in the past, and there was mentioned there, but obviously what they did, you know, the defense, like you said before, but with this new defensive outlook which Coach Heatherman has been able to make game plans that have held pretty much everybody in check. Like Florida State, I know a lot of it was fool's gold with Florida State early in the season to what we saw, but, you know, not moving it at all. So there's obviously a lot of optimism in that regard that Miami will be able to tame these demons of these random ACC games, because that's what it feels like. You get through Notre Dame, you get through Florida, you get through Florida State, you get through all these schools, and all of a sudden, like a random ACC pop up on the schedule is what you're most like. If we were playing Georgia Tech, if Georgia Tech was 3-3 at this point in the season, and we had them 3 weeks out, I would be terrified because it's Georgia Tech, right? Like these ACC
Syracuse last year, yeah.
Syracuse last year, right? That's the scary part, like the let your guard down stuff, which is another reason why I was really happy that we didn't have a game right after Florida State too. Like get a week to get your head right to make sure you don't make that mess up a week after a highly emotional up and tally. But it's just making sure you stay locked into what the goal is.
Yeah, it's ACC play, it's conference play. Anything can happen.
Right. And in a conference where, I mean, with, you know, you don't play everybody, so you lose 2 games, it's very unlikely that you're going to be in the ACC championship. Now, what does that mean for a team like Miami? Like sitting at number 2 in the country, we don't play any more ranked teams, right? So we lose the game now. How quick people are going to be like, "Ha, I told you." But even though they're not saying a word now, they're going to be like,
they got in their draft right now, ready to tweet it.
Oh,
fraud alert. And then the SEC and Big Ten propaganda ready to spin, tell you how 3 3-loss team or a Georgia with no pulse is better than Kane.
Yeah, like already Bama, like they can't wait to get Bama back up there. They keep pushing Bama back up, Like Bama's there. Look, don't worry about they lost to this like quickly being dismantled Florida State team. Don't worry about that. Bama. So they're going to talk about how Florida State was ranked after their game, not at the time of their game, and not now. It's the Florida State team that was ranked 12 after they beat Alabama that week in week whatever. But so yeah, what if we lose 2? Yeah, we're probably out of the top 12 and playoff unlikely. But if we lose 2 of the last 4, or 2 of the at the end of this like streak of the season, the 2 last 6 games, like I mean, you really don't deserve it. You can't go 4-2 to finish this thing out and make the playoffs. Not with how good this team is, not with what the expectations are for this team. So we'll see how that goes as time goes on. Chris Gahn saying we shut down Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame. I feel good about Corey Hellerman's defense. That is true. And Steve-O correctly called that out, knew what was going on. Deepwater, not afraid. CF Can't more worried about Pitt than Louisville. I mean, Pitt had some real stinkers of games too. Like Pitt did not look great for a good part of the season. So that's just as much of a thing there too. But anyway, so any concerns, any major concerns about like the flip side of the ball, our offense going against Louisville's defense, Devo?
Nah, I have no concerns at all. It's just a matter of going out there and executing. They don't do anything defensively that we can. They've yet to put on tape that they could stop the run and stop the pass at the same time. And we're so efficient at both that we're going to be able to put up points. That's just, end of the day, that's what it is. We are really balanced on offense where, all right, you want to take away this run because you don't want Mark Fletcher running it down your throat, Jordan Lau, Marty Brown running it down your throat. I get it. That's demoralizing. But, hey, look at this. This is CJ Daniels going down there doing the war chant in front of the camera. That's the alternative. Or you have the phenom freshman Malley one-on-one. So if you don't want us to run the ball down your throat, which I would stop the run first, to be honest with you. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'm living with the one-on-one matchups. If they're Jimmy's and Joe's, if they're Jimmy's beat our Joe's, then it is what it is. But I'm not going to let them hand the ball off all day down our throats. Which more teams are going to have to make that decision because of how good we've been and the balance we've been. So I'm really not worried about Louisville. Excited. I have some guests with us at the game, and very excited, to be honest with you. Get off work, head over. Nice.
So while we're here talking about how excited we are, it's a good time to talk about our predictions. Usually this is Bill's segment. He does the whole thing. Steve-O, do you want to read off what happened last week and all that, or you want me to do it?
I got it. I think Bill put in the group chat. Bill finally won. Spoilers. he put it in all caps, winner, and parentheses.
Bum ass Bill.
Yeah, he sent that at 9:30 in the morning too. He was ready to put that out.
He had that tweet, that text scheduled for like 6 days, like early.
Yeah, 3 days. Bill put that text in our group chat early. He was ready. He even said, I'll text my Louisville stuff later. I just want y'all to let that W simmer in. So Chris, you were off by 8 points. I was off by 13, which would not have been if we didn't let them come back in the fourth quarter. Bill was off by 4. Great number, by the way. So you won, FSU guy, which, what's his name again?
B Ryder.
B Ryder. Yeah, he was off by 13. Wild predictions, they never come true. So we'll move on. We'll move on. So what we got going on this week?
All right. So this week, Bill put his on the board already. A 30-23 win for Miami. So this is the time where you guys. CF King fan, offensive player of the year. I mean, I'm going back.
You already went back. So strictly off flash plays, I'm gonna just go CJ. Just off flash plays. I mean, that Notre Dame catch, that USF catch, FSU. I mean, he's made the big plays.
Yeah.
So I don't think When someone cuts up his highlight reel and puts it on YouTube, it's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be nasty.
That Instagram reel in 20 years, like, hey, y'all remember CJ Daniels? And then like you show like this, like, oh my god,
yeah,
who's a Hall of Famer right now?
Yeah, that's good. That's gonna be a fire mixtape whenever they cut up CJ's highlights this year. That's gonna be crazy. He's got some abuse out there.
I'll take it. All right, so Bill's guy, like I said, he has 30 to 23 Miami. I should probably write this down, or Bill's gonna be pissed. What were the predictions? 30.
Start dropping y'all predictions in the chat.
30 23. I'll go next because I always wait to not go, but I'm just gonna go. 30 23. Score. I'm gonna go 38. 38 to 20. 38-20. Miami.
I'm gonna go 42-17.
42-17. All right, let's take a
I
look.
need to get a 40 burger to hit. 40 bond to hit, man.
Safe Kane fan 37-14. B Harp 45-17. Gary Furman 24-17.
Gary.
Tommy Cruz 38-14. Bagging up.
Hey,
The double dip. The double dip. Undefeated. 44-14. Chris Gons. JoJo Gunn 34-24.
You think we'll do it like that, fam? I think we do it like that every week. That's why I always lose.
All right. I would say go one of two ways. Either go Gary Furman because it's funny, or go with the biggest score. The only guy that put a bigger number than you did, I think. I know it's two. Chris Gons and BR. BR put the biggest number up.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like have we did B Harp this year? I just want to make sure. Let's pick someone we haven't done. I don't think we've done Tommy. We haven't done Gary either, so technically that would still work.
We can't go Gary.
Want to do a? We can flip a coin. Actually, I don't. Where my coins at? Want to do heads Tommy, tails Gary?
All right, well, that sounds good.
All right, just so y'all know, I ain't bucking. Heads, tails. Hey, heads.
All right.
Who's heads again? That's Tommy, right?
Tommy, right?
Congrats, man.
There you go, Tommy. 38. All right, so that's pretty good. Tommy Cruz. All right, 38-14. Got it. Locked in.
Better luck next time, Gary. Maybe on the crazy prediction. Go ahead. Y'all boys start getting it. Y'all know it's coming.
Oh yeah, like you can definitely put your stupid stuff in there.
2 out of 3. In fairness, I can't change the past, but moving forward, we might go 2 out of 3
For the coin toss? Yeah, I think that'd be fair. Yeah. We also forgot for a second who even was heads or tails. So we go 2 out of 3. We're never gonna forget who's who. All right, Bill's wild prediction is JoJo scoring 2 touchdowns.
That's a good one too, bro. That's a really good one, to be honest with you, because he's gonna play this week. So that's a really good one. I can see Beck trying to get him going. Like that's sounds. It classifies as a crazy prediction, but out of the crazy ones that we've all put, like specific defensive lineman getting a touchdown, specific reverse touchdown, Philly specials, JoJo 2 tutties is a strong one.
All right, keep throwing your crazy plays in there, guys. We got CF Kane fan. Kane scored defense, offense, and special teams. Defense gets 8 sacks.
Jesus, that kid's going to the hospital.
Game of 4 sacks.
3 TDs, Lofton down at halftime. Crazy prediction. It was the Furminator. Not gonna lie, bro. I gotta go with that one. Though. That is
Yeah, now we're
hilarious.
doing that. We're doing that one.
Down at halftime. Let's do it.
Back it up's pissed. He didn't think of it. Like, oh damn, that was my time.
Yeah. Bill will be eating that up right now.
Down at half. Bill, JoJo, 2 TDs. I'm gonna go because it's stupid anyways. I'm gonna go Carson Beck scores 2 I don't care about passing. He'll get passing touchdowns, but he's also gonna score 2 non-passing touchdowns.
So that means receptions or rushing touchdowns.
Receiving or rushing touchdowns. 2 receiving or rushing touchdowns from Carson Beck.
All right, that's definitely not gonna happen. But go ahead and write it down. But I'm gonna go 3 different backs have a rushing touchdown.
Does that include Carson Beck?
Nah. I'm going. I actually definitely gonna be Lyle, Fletcher, and Marty Brown, but I'm gonna just go 3 different running backs just in case Pringle gets some burn.
All right, so they have to be running backs then.
Yeah, 3 different running backs have a touchdown.
So like you're not gonna come on next week. Malachi Tony scores on a reverse, and you're like, well, technically, I saw him once play running back against.
Nah, I've seen him play every position. Nah, running back. It got to tell you, it don't matter if it's Mally, Marion, anybody who does not play running back. Yeah.
The ghost of Jordan Lyle gets active.
That's crazy. The ghost.
It's backing up. He's got a little negativity in there, else it wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel right. All right, so we got our predictions locked in. JoJo 2 touchdowns for Bill, down at half for Gary, 2 non-passing touchdowns for Carson Beck for me, and Steve-O, 3 different running backs for the rushing TD. Pretty good, Steve-O. Right? Yeah. Like 2 days out from a big game. Every game the rest of the season's a big one now, guys. Now it's, a war of attrition, making sure we stay locked in and do what we got to do. I mean, you guys as fans too, go to the game, enjoy the Friday night atmosphere. It's opportunity, under the bright lights for Miami to do their thing and the primetime national TV spot. So, hey, this isn't a time to don't be a fan later. That was a saying a couple years ago. Don't be a fan later. This is the time right now, guys. If you're a young fan, sometimes it's a long time in between Miami being number 2 in the country. Those years are gonna get long. Real long. And if you're a Miami Dolphins fan or a New York Jet fan or your NFL team is just garbage, then you got to make sure that you take advantage of the good times in college ball. So go to the game. Enjoy yourself out there. But with that thought, Steve-O, I think it's time. Final thoughts for the people.
Final thoughts, pack the rock. I'll be out there. Can't wait. It's going to be a nice environment. Friday. I love it. Work all day. Looking forward to it. Work's going to be a breeze. It's like I'm not even clocking in. And then I get to just wake up on Saturday and, do some training and then just watch football. Well, maybe not. I'll be have some other things, but think about watching football all day. So it's going to be nice. I love playing on a Friday and just waking up Saturday, just enjoying the day of college football for what it is. So final thoughts are definitely get out there, support the team, and be loud, be insane. It's the asylum out there. Bring that electric juice and go Canes.
See if Cane fans, and you did mention this before, any truth that Ray Lewis is director of football operations? I haven't heard that at all. I don't know.
I haven't heard that at all. I mean, I've been looking into a bunch of stuff right now, just watching games, watching tape. I don't really look out for anything unless I hear something about a kid committing. But I think everybody would have heard that if that was true. That would have been a thing, being plastered everywhere on social media. Yeah. Ray Lewis, back director of football. Don't think that has legs.
Honestly, don't. And I would mess around with working. So just let's ride this wave out first, and then we'll worry about other things that might happen in the future for sure. So, Chris Scott, thank you very much. All the guys, we appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. Thank you guys at Canes Insight for allowing us to do this stuff on the channel. Always appreciate you guys out there. I get a chance to talk. about all the stuff we got going on. It's really it's great for us to get those conversations going. It's always a fun time, and this is, like you said, is the time that we're all talking positive. We're all excited about the next week, excited about what could happen, excited about the amount of nonsense we will talk if we do get into this playoff. Like if we do get the opportunity, how much trash Steve-O, Bill, and I will talk in those weeks we have to prepare. It's just going to be the most egregious commentary you've ever heard. And we were the guys that said, the most combined starts heading into like an opening game. We were those guys, and we're going to double down on that. Steve-O out here like, man, we have 97 combined starts heading into this game. It's the greatest offensive line ever, Steve-O said. Yeah. It's the greatest offensive line ever built, Steve-O said. Mollywop Alabama.
I remember being like, I'm worried for Derrick King. I remember being like, a lot of those starts weren't good starts. I remember a lot more.
Mollywop.
Yeah, I remember. I remember counting those FCS or whatever division Tommy Kennedy snaps were from and being like, you got to factor that into the equation too. I remember those. Kane's legacy.
Right there in the
CF Kane's fan.
Right there on my face. It's me and Bill. Usually I'm the when I post intelligent stuff. Bill's the one that gets into arguments with people.
Yeah, he leaves the comments ready to fade.
All day he'll just message me, hey, argue with this Penn State fan about something. Like, why? Like, I don't know. Something to do. But anyway.
Go ahead, Bill. Fight the good fight, fam.
Fight on the internet. It's always a good time. But thank you guys for tuning into the show. We appreciate you. We'll see you again next week, right here, same time, same place for your Live Canes. Have a good week.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska. He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, but he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.